The topic for this one is how restaurants are becoming more experiential. This session is going to be moderated by Chef Vijay Bhaskaran, and on this panel we have Chef Damu, Chef Mayank from ITC, Chef Bharnidharan, and Chef Bhatia. So ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for moderator and the panelists. Everybody with a huge round of applause, let's please welcome them on stage.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Please, panelist. Chef Damu, please.
I got the point.
So we had another panelist, Chef Abhijit Saha, the celebrity chef from Bangalore. He is supposed to join us, but unfortunately, due to some illness in the family, he couldn't join us. But we have four eminent panelists here, so I'm also supposed to introduce them to you all. So let me start with Chef Nimish. All of them are good friends of mine. So Chef Nimish has been in the industry for quite some time, more 3 decades of experience in the industry. He has been a part of top 25 chefs in the country. He was also corporate chef of the Lalit group in the last assignment. He also ran an experiential dining restaurant himself, which was called Nimiseri in Bangalore, which was highly talked about, highly raved about restaurant. Now he is into a lot of consulting and he does a lot of facility planning, hospital kitchens, fine dining, bulk banqueting, resort kitchens. So, and then I also know that he is also opening restaurants in the United States. So he is also was in the television show. I can't remember the name, chef. What is the name? So he was also in a tussle with the Pakistani chef on the television there, and he's also a member of our Indian Federation of Culinary Associations. Thank you, chef, for being here. Another good friend of mine, I'd like to introduce Chef Bharnidharan there, a good old friend. I know him from the Griffith Foods days. Just let me. I do not want to miss anything out. So again, Chef Barney is a gold medalist from the Oberoi School of Hotel Management. And then I am proud to say that he is from our college, IHM. And we also have our guru there. So Chef Timaya there, classmate of Chef Damu there. So I just want to say we have an IHM friend there. And then he specializes right now at food startups. I think he's got a interesting startup now. Wonderful. Yeah, that was wonderful, chef, anyway. And then, anyway, I talked about a little bit about the Griffith Foods. The person next there doesn't require introduction, so should I introduce Chef Damu to everybody? So, Chef Damu is very well known in the television industry, but he is one chef who's associated with the hardcore hotel management, hotel. He was also in education. He is also in the media, multifaceted. So he knows all the aspects of the hospitality industry, not from just one angle. So we are proud to have Chef Damu. And I know he doesn't require introduction, but still I will mention that he is also the holder of Guinness records. And then another factor of him, which I like to mention, he gets mobbed everywhere. So we have to put bouncers to protect him every time we go. So thank you, Chef Damu, for being here. And we have Chef Mayank there, again good friend of mine. He is now the area executive chef, Southern Region, ITC Hotels, and executive chef of the flagship hotel of ITC, the ITC Grand Chola. So he has again 33 years of experience. Thank you, chef, for being here. So I am Chef Vijay Bhaskaran. I am the General Secretary of the Indian Federation of Culinary Association. I am very happy to be here. So the chefs in India have a small little body to co-create and cooperate among the chefs. So we have been doing a lot of chefs, and then we have our General Secretary of the South India Chefs Association here, Chef Sitaram. He is also our Vice President of the Indian Federation of Culinary Associations. So just a few small little thing about IFCA, because I want to use the platform to tell all the people associated with the South India Hotel and Restaurant Association that we require your support in all our endeavors, whichever our association does. So we seek your support anytime we do. So are we ready to go, chefs? Can we go? Yeah. So little bit. So we are today going to try to engage you with some industry and the view from the chef's angle, whether experiential dining or experimental dining, does it really have a place today, or we are just talking something in the thin air, or is it a fad, or is it a really going to stay? Okay, Chef Sitaram, can I have you on the stage, please? Again, Chef Sitaram, I'm very happy to have you here. So, Chef Sitaram is the corporate chef of GRT Group of Hotels. As I told you, he's again Vice President of the Indian Federation of Culinary Associations and General Secretary of the South India Chefs Association. And we go a long way. We used to work in the same company long back. So let's quickly get on. So what I will do is, yeah, it's a panel discussion, but initially I would like to give a chance for each panelist to talk about what is their view about the experiential dining and what is their thoughts about experience. So from my side, I will just throw a little bit in the side. So I know a place which is quite popular is blindfold eating or eating in the dark. So you are actually led to a dark room, and then you are going to be seated there, and then some food is coming, then you have to experience the food. I do not know, is it really experiential or not? I'm not aware. Olden days, we used to be trainees in the city of Delhi, and then there was, for me, that was an experiential restaurant. That is the Machan in the Taj. Used to be experiential restaurant for me. So these are some of those things which come to my mind when I was given this subject. And I also know another restaurant which is called Kaidi Kitchen or Prison Kitchen. So actually your customer will go, you'll be put in behind the bars, then you'll be told to dine there. So probably they give you aluminum plates to dine and all that. So these are some of these extreme experiential dining areas which are available today. Do they really make sense? Do they really make business sense? Do they appeal to people? Is what we are going to discuss today. So what I will do is I'll start with Chef Mayank here. Can I request the organizers to give the mic, please? It is there, huh? It is there? You have, huh? Okay. Chef Mayank,
Hello.
what is your thought about experiential dining or experimental dining today?
Morning everyone. Chef, if you ask me, experiential dining has been happening for ages, time immemorial. It's how we look at it. What we want to create excitement, or are we creating sustainable experience? So what you are talking about, those are fads. They'll come, somebody will replicate, or once you experience it, after that you will not go back. Or maybe once in a blue moon, just for excitement. So what experiential dining is, it starts from home, starts from various restaurants, very small eateries give you fantastic food. Experiential dining can only happen when you have the basics right. Experiential dining will always be there. It is how you look at food or how you look at dining. Everything makes a difference. All elements of eatery or a restaurant or the space, it makes a difference. I think every time, and when we are chefs here, we are sitting in, core comes in that food should be the right. And then the rest of the experiential dining will make sense. You create a good experiential dining and you give a very basic food, nobody will come. I remember many years back, Rajneesh, Jorba the Buddha, he started those restaurants, a basic home-style food. There's no experience in that. You go into a place, you sit there, but the food was outstanding. The natural flavors, there was nothing artificial in it. People still remember the flavors. But unfortunately, it couldn't make the business sense. And it has to shut down. It has to sustain itself. It needs to get the revenue to move on. So I think experiential dining is a very vast subject, what we are discussing here. And yes, in today's world, we need to have experiential dining because there's so much of awareness, thanks to social media, Chef Damu, and the knowledge on the internet. So somewhere everyone is looking for something different. They want to be, talking about it. It's not more like I'm experiencing it. It's more about how much is my camera or what I can put it on a social media. So it'll be there, and it'll keep creating fads. Sustainable experiential dining will be there, but very few. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef Mayank, for that insight. So I'll come back to you a little later, probably try to discuss a little bit of a debate, how some restaurants are a little different. So what you, Chef Damu, for your...
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to SIHRA for inviting me. I'm just going back the 40 years back, what was happening, how the experimental was, the traditional food, from the modernist food, now the experiment is entirely different actually. The modern equipments have come, they serve the food in front of you with the new techniques, ambience is different, the infrastructure is different, and also the service is different now. Is it the people like that actually? Is it the people like that ambience, or the service atmosphere, or the equipments? If you ask me, as a management, whatever I did, the ambience and new staffing, the latest equipments, at the end of the day, I want money. For that only I have been doing all these experiments. If the money what I anticipate I get that, my experiment is correct. Okay, I am for it. If not, maybe I anticipated per day 20 lakhs. If we're not getting the 20 lakhs, then what I should do next to get the 20 lakhs? That's actually very important actually. So for that, are we working properly or not? Are we doing the service properly or not? Are we really concentrating on the children or not? Or are we looking after the younger generation? Are we looking after the kids? According to the kids, younger generation and the elderly people and the youth, are we giving the right food or the right service to them? It's a question mark. When you say the elderly people, are we giving the diet food? Are we experimenting that? Are we experiencing that? Or for the younger generation, are we giving the right food? Or kids, are we giving the good meal? If all this calculated, it's a very big question mark to fill up the cash box. So if you really want to do, definitely one has to do what was happening 40 years back and what is happening now. It's really the great task. It's not that difficult because we are in the competitive world now. A lot of restaurants or different concept restaurants have come. They are really experimenting so many things, they're doing it. The latest techniques are introducing it. But still, when you compete with the people, where we are standing is very important. I think we do a lot more talk on this actually, whether we explain it properly, this present situation. I pass it on to Murray.
Chef Barney, your views on experiential dining and experimental dining, do they really have a place in the dine, or we are just talking in thin air about it?
No, I think experiential dining is very, very critical. It has been always, and it's going to be the norm. I just want to understand and explain from my side as to what are the fundamentals of experiential dining. I would define it as the occasion, the aspiration of your target audience, the memories that you want to create as an operator, and the memories that the guest wants to carry back home with them. And most importantly, I would define it as a multi-sensory delight that you throw in the entire experience, which creates that wow and the delight. So in us defining the occasion, the aspiration, the memories, and the multi-sensory delight, you have various strata in the society. There's affordability, there is a need, aspiration. So there are various bands of income groups. It's how every hotel can get creative in that particular space and offer delight to the consumers. It's a challenge. But is it doable? Yes, it is doable. Many of them struggle by seeing what's out there in the market and trying to see if I can ape it. Can I be an ITC or a Bukhara? It's impossible. It's legacy. Can I have the social media strength of what Chef Damu has? It's impossible. It's 45 years of hard work. But if I have to create something today, it has to be something which is in-house, where you groom your team to start thinking that way, to say, how are we going to be different as we progress in the business every year on year with the changing market around us? So I've been blessed with my professor right here, Chef Timaya, the way he taught me basics, and the way I worked back in the Oberois. I probably traveled 35 to 40 countries in the world. And the only thing that I did, saving all the money that I had, is do two things. One is to buy culinary books, and number two is to go for experiential dining. That's all I did. I stayed in pensions, traveled in trains, slept in small little dormitories, but this is the only two things that I did. The reason is, I had the aspiration to learn. So there are similarly various stratas in the society as consumers and as customers. You need to map their aspirations and how you can deliver to them. So to answer your question, Chef, it definitely is going to stay. It will evolve. There will be a lot of things which will just come in as fashion and drop by. But their fundamentals will remain, but every association will be challenged to get creative with time. That's going to be the constant. Change and creativity is going to be the constant to deliver to your target audience in terms of experiential dining. I'll pass it on to Chef Nimish.
Yeah, Chef Nimish, before that, so you are running your own restaurant, you are also corporate chef of the large group of hotels there, and then now we are opening restaurants in US. So I know you're doing quite a bit, so you must be actually dwelling too much into this. Can you give a different kind of experience to the customers there? Will it really appeal or not? So what is your take and how you are using your experience of experiential dining in these places?
Thank you, Chef Vijay Bhaskar. And good morning to all of you. Sunday morning, we're all here to talk on this. But it's interesting. I feel every restaurant which is commercial has to have something which is giving an experience. That experience can be with decor, it could be with food, it could be with any other thing. It could be with a style of service you are doing. It could be a concept, it could be a story, it could be anything. But it has to have a combination of things to be a winning formula. You know, we are in a world today where the race is not between good and bad. It is between good and good. So every restaurant serves good food, whether it is a small little thela or whether it is a Michelin star restaurant or it is in a 5-star restaurant. So everybody has to be successful in their own arena and whatever strategies they want to do. It has to be experiential. Chef Damu was talking about old restaurants which has theme. Chef Vijay Bhaskar started with it. Chef Bernie spoke about eating outside in top restaurants. Yes, you may have a waiting for months together, whether it is a Michelin star restaurant or whether it is probably an experiential restaurant. It could be a Chaukidani in Jaipur, it could be Vaishala in Rajasthan, in Gujarat, or it could be anything like this. So it has to be your own thing, what you think is going to be successful. Cut, copy, paste will not work. You can get inspired. You can get inspired and recreate. Everything will work. Whether it is traditional, it will work the way you present it and you do it right. If it is modern, it will work if you do it right. This is what I feel. You know, they say you don't need crutches to walk if you can fly. That's exactly what happens in the restaurant business, but you have to do it right. And the subject to do right is to do it 360 degrees. This is what I feel. So when your customer or a guest who walks into a restaurant, if I talk about a freestanding restaurant, even in a hotel, if it is, it starts from the valet, how he takes your valet, takes your car, how somebody welcomes you in a restaurant, how somebody pulls your chair, unfolds a napkin, gives you a plate, gets you a menu. what you like in that menu. There must be some things which are new, and there must be some things which you've not heard about. What is the price of the menu? And when it comes to food, it is more than the diner. Today, it is about the co-diner. For example, if me and Chef Bernie are going to a restaurant together, and he's been in that restaurant many a times, and he's hosting, and he tells me, whatever, a chicken tikka masala is very good in this restaurant, and he sees that. I say, oh, it doesn't look so good. I say, yeah, every time they do good, but this time I feel we've not even tasted the food. Or maybe he says, oh, that looks awesome. I say, yeah, I know about this. This restaurant serves all awesome food. So that is co-diners thing, which was probably not there some time back. And that is being very, very important all over the world today. What happens? Then when your invoice comes, the bill comes, it should be right. Whatever you had, it should not have anything less, anything more. Yeah, anything less is always welcome with a lot of people because that's a surprise. But until the time you said a bye-bye and you reach the valet, and the valet should have not fiddled with your card, not your mirror, not seen your things, that is a 360-degree approach, according to me. Anything in between which goes wrong, the restaurant experience is wrong. If the valet goes wrong, they say, oh, this restaurant is bad, the valet was wrong. Somebody does not welcome you, says, oh, the staff was so snobbish, it was not nice. You know, the menu comes to you, you have seen some things which you like, you say, oh, there's no variety in the menu. If you've not seen a lot of things in the menu, they say, oh, they've put everything very, very experimental. Why should I spend my money on experimental food? You know, something like that. Whether if you are hanged in an experiential restaurant and you've been taken over with a crane and you sit there and that is the restaurant where you will dine. Some people say, wow, I will pay extra bucks for that. Some people say, why should I put my life in danger in sitting there and do that? There could be so there are different opinions about it, and I think that is best thing, what is about food and beverage, because we all are connected to food and beverage, and we all have our personal opinions about food and beverage. You know, there is no definition for good food. Somebody may say, good food has got a lot of chilies. And somebody will say, no, good food has got no chilies. Now, how will you have a good food definition? Somebody would say, good food is deep fried, desi ghee, biryani. Somebody would say, no, good food is about salads. Good food is about olive oil. Now, this is a totally different thing. For a chef to make a menu or for a food and beverage guy or a restaurant owner to decide his theme, it is not about the demography. It is not about finding a definition of good food. It is about getting his strategies right, which is probably a combination, a lot of things. This is what I feel is today. And essential elements of a restaurant or food and beverage or dining, it is earlier probably we would say that good food, that is how it is. But today people may say the good food can be got in a street, in a little thela. And if you want to charge excess, what other than good food you have? That is the gap, I feel, and that is what is to be filled, if I'm not taking much time.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chef Bhatia. But I also have heard about some restaurant in Japan where people go to the restaurant to get slapped. So that's the latest. So, the experiential in people's mind is very, very different nowadays. So probably somebody should have a bad valet to have people coming back to the restaurant. So now I call upon Chef Sitaram. Chef Sitaram also has run a lot of experiential dining restaurants on his own, and then I know I read a little bit about what you do with Astro Food and how you are giving a different kind of experience for certain set of customers. So I'm very sure you will have some interesting takes on experiential dining.
Very good morning to all. And I think as the chefs were telling, I think they were all for experiential dining. My take is something where even today the market demand is such where even the average food is selling. The good food, definitely it sells. The best food, definitely 100% it is going to have a big demand. Today's scenario with all the inputs from the chefs, the fastest changing trends, what are the fastest changing trends? Can somebody tell? Is it costumes, or is it perfumes, or is it cars? What are the fastest changing trends? Like, can somebody give one or two? Yes.
Chef has thrown the question to the audience.
Yes. Okay, food. I think the fastest changing trends in the world is even a car comes, it sustains at least 2 years, 3 years in the market. Like, let it be a linen comes, it is there in the market for the fashion costume, anything which comes, it is there in the market for some time. The fastest changing trends are food trends, like today. It is changing just like that. Every 6 months there's a change in the world, food industry, which we cannot avoid, like we cannot pass by. Like, so we chefs have bigger challenge, and we are doing that. Experiential dining makes sense. At the same time, good food makes a lot of difference, which sustains. For example, chef was mentioning about Bukhara or Peshawari. See, it has sustained for last 40 years. Am I right, chef? 40 plus
Exactly.
years.
We have not changed the menu for last 40 years.
They have not changed the menus, and same menu, hardly 20 or 30, 15 dishes are there. And I think we need to really analyze that actually. Experiential dining is the trend today. But how long it is going to sustain, we have to analyze that actually. Today, whatever restaurants, whatever concepts, whatever anything new we're introducing in our outlets are doing very well. Like, people are enjoying it. People are coming to have a good experience. Like, so basically, how long the dinner is there in a memory for next 3 days? It is there. Like, that kind of experience people are expecting. People are ready to spend money. Like, so experiential dining makes a lot of sense. In fact, when we started our careers, see, when we go into the lobby, chefs go into the lobby, the managers stare at us like, why this dirty goats coming into the lobby area? Like, today things have changed. They're inviting us to the lobby. They're inviting us in front. Like, all the chefs are there in the dining area. In fact, waiters have become 50% of chefs. Like, for your all information, we have trained them in such a way that they are doing some kind of finishing touch on the table. Like, some kind of drama is happening on the table. Like, people are enjoying it. Like, a lot of changes have happened last 20, 25 years. So with these fast changing trends, definitely we are evolving ourselves, and the industry's eating habits are changing. Again, customer eating habits are changing. Like, see, previously people were eating, what do you mean by celebration food? Like, let it be a biryani or steak or whatever it is, we try to eat full, and we want to eat food which we are familiar with, which we are having which we have the incline to go again and again, eat the same food, like dosa, idli, whatever it is. But today things are little, people want to experience something new. When we start getting ready ourselves, going into any restaurant in our house itself, everybody has their own opinions. Like, so I think we'll go to Oriental, we'll go to Chaat, or we'll go to, so this coming to a conclusion is taking time. So experiential dining is now the trend, and it is going to be the trend for a couple of more years. Like, thank you.
Thank you, Chef Sitaram, for your insights. So what I will do now is, every panelist add their say now. So what we'll do, we'll not exactly do your one-line answer or something like that, but then I would request the panelists to keep it little brief. So I'll go in little random order. So what I will do is, I have a couple of pointers to ask to the panelists. The lot talked about, the phone has become smarter, the people have become less smarter now. So that's what has happened with the people. So you can't say that digitalization has no place in the food. So I would ask Chef Barney this question. When we talk about artificial intelligence, digitalization, and social media and all this, and connecting them with experiential dining, do you think there is, in any meaning we talk, or it's okay, it's part of life, whatever we do will get captured in the social media?
I'm going to be a little controversial in my comments, so please pardon me straight up. For me, even social media and food is just a passing fad.
Absolutely.
Good food is here to stay, and good food will be reached out by people. People will come to you if you have the good food and the experience that you have to offer. People who are lost in a world with no sense of appreciation for a dining experience or a sense of living, or to appreciate what goes behind preparation, are the people who go and touch few buttons and get somebody to deliver the food to your doorstep. somebody who really appreciates food, the culture, the tradition, will always go out and reach out to a place to dine and experience a particular meal. And I think it will be a circle. I always think that we are close to that circle ending, and we see the restaurants getting busy now. You will see people coming out and dining experiential very soon.
Yeah, I know pandemic has played a big part, but then you can't discount the role of Instagram in food nowadays. I think Instagram is next to the chefs, no, in food. So, so I think Chef Bhatia wants to throw some light on that.
Yeah, I was getting eager, and what he said is absolutely right, and I agree with it. It remembers me some time back. I was opening this restaurant in Los Angeles, and so there was a big board outside this restaurant. Like we have Zomato and platforms here in India, they have Yelp, right? So he said, the board reads like this: "We are not on Yelp, yet we cook good food."
Yeah,
So I think that gives an answer to a lot of things. The food is the hero. It has to stay. It cannot be any compromise. Rest everything around it can have a glitter, can have something dull, can have whatever. The food is food, and that is what you are going to experience. And experiential is about experiencing food and beverage. And I don't think so that can be discounted. Social media will come and go because they are not like print media, which is there with you, can have a proof. They disappear.
Okay. What I will do is I will
let me
quickly
add
give a word
something.
to Chef Mayank there,
Yeah.
and then after that, Chef Barney will want to come in there. Yeah.
You know what we are talking about social media, and of course that's a fad which is going to stay. They are the one who's taking everyone to the public, everyone, each of us, Facebook or Instagram. They, you can connect with anybody, you can know about anybody, you can track them, you can hunt them, you can, stalk them. But as I was saying in my opening statement also, food remains the core. No substitute for that. As long as, and if this generation who's sitting here has got, say, 40 plus years of experience, we are still in the orthodox, that with the new generation, we'll be the orthodox style of cooking or following food and following the principles of cooking, the basics. But the modern one feels that the moment you cook food and it goes on the Instagram, it will be popular. During pandemic, there were a lot of housewives who became chefs and was providing food in their residential colonies or around. They're still in business, yes. Because they were mothers and they were housewives, they knew how to cook. They remained the basics. Again, as social media, and we say that it's going to throw up, we don't know how much it is reality. There are techniques, there are AIs, there are photo, there's a whole lot of, you can say, branch of photography which is open up, which is shooting these photographs or putting it in front of us, all of us. But the new generation, youngsters who are here, still the hero is the food. If you are not going to have food, as chefs were saying, Bukhara, we have not changed the menu. The hero is food. We have taken it all over India in various locations just because food is the hero. Rest is all experiential, comes after that. So when we are saying this, that how social media is going to be, it's going to influence, it's going to get your people and it will increase the footfall. But let me tell you, I'm just asking, we are almost around 100 people in this room. If Chef Bernie has to do a food for you, he doesn't know any of you. He doesn't know your palate. He doesn't know what you prefer, who's vegetarian, who's non-vegetarian. And he still plans a menu and puts it on the buffet, which traditional chefs are doing it day in, day out. And still, if you can pick up 5 items on your plate, you have your food.
Yeah.
Yes,
So it's interesting. See, it's interesting. See, we are taking example of Bukhara, but Bukhara was pre-social media days. So there's a lot to be discussed about there. But then what happens is today somebody's trying to invest. We have a lot of investors. We have a lot of hotel owners. We have a lot of restaurant owners. So if they're going to run, so I think, I know the mic is in demand now.
Chef, actually, unfortunately, now as you rightly said, it's all been looked at the balance sheet and the top line and the bottom line.
Yeah.
That should not happen. When it comes to food, the moment you're going to talk about top line and bottom line and investors come in, this is what is going to happen. Every day you will have restaurants opening up and soon they'll be out of business. Because investors, not that Bernie is not going to agree with me, they are important. But it is not that we are going to play around the basic structure, which is the food. If investors can sustain it, and they need to create experiences which will automatically upgrade themselves or create new experiences, then the investors are going to get their returns. Otherwise, we will just be creating restaurants and shutting it down.
Yeah, thank you. I think Chef
Actually,
Damu will have a...
while talking about the social media, only it is sad to know that actually we're inviting the food people who are tasting it actually to the restaurant. So we are giving them the food. What is the worried is actually the person who are tasting is a professional. He is not a professional actually. Just for the social media sake, he's giving a lot of comments, and that has been published everywhere. And there may be a small drawbacks in his comments. For that, the restaurant facing a big loss because of the comment. It goes to the higher authorities. It goes to the what you call the government level because of the comment, and immediately the government people coming and trading it, and so many things happen because of social media. One thing is the people who are tasting or should be a professional. He'll be able to give a right picture about the food. One thing is, does he know how to weigh the food, value the food, the quality of food? Then only he can pass a comments or give a comments what on the social media. That is totally lacking. Just for namesake or popularity's sake, we are bringing the social media into the restaurants. Another one, we are also bringing the bloggers, food bloggers. Are they professionals? No. They are also coming for only thing writing sake. They're coming down and then they're tasting the food. They're writing what actually they wanted to write. I feel the bloggers as well the food people coming and tasting, they're giving reviews, must be a professionals. We should, all the restaurant owners should encourage only the professionals, not that because of the, what do you call the popularity, we should do that, that actually reverse back to us. Because I've seen a lot of restaurants in Chennai face a problem because of the same thing. So we have to be careful on social media when you give these sort of things, then we are safe actually.
Thank you, Chef Damu. So we agree actually. Chef Barney, you wanted to say, okay, we can move on. So there are also some restaurants which probably Chef Bhatia or Chef Sitaram can also talk. So we heard about quite a bit about smell, sound, sensory, flavor. There are so many things because these are all flights of fantasy for any experiential dining restaurant. So for example, Ferrer and Adria came up with some of the concepts which were actually highly experiential, and then how so many chefs try to ape it all over. So I also have carbon dioxide coming on my table nowadays, isn't it, in form of dry ice. So there are so many things which are happening in the food place. So is it really, are the customers are really looking for it, or just they're going to come like movie, they'll come once and see and go off? I'll throw this question to Chef Nimish and Chef Sitaram also.
Yes, see, as I said earlier, we are in a competition, where when we are in a competition, we have to be better than other. So you can cook some food which can have one parameter. It cannot be better than other. That's where earlier there were national menus which became regional menus, country menus, now family menus. There is some variety. Now what happens, what can you do more to that? A potato, an onion, a chicken, a mutton will remain. You cannot create additional chicken or additional potato to it. What you can create is an element of surprise. So our food and beverage industry does not work in chronological order. It is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or it is not A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. It needs an element of surprise. That 3, 4, 1, 5 is probably what what various chefs are doing in various terms to get, whether you want to call it as a molecular gastronomy, or you want to call it as a modern gastronomy, whether you want to do whatever. Somebody does this on that hype, and another guy is also going on a traditional cuisine, because we are forgetting that. see, if I get a minute more, I just want to talk about some time back, we were only cooking in desi ghee. Then we learned that there is another thing, which is a refined oil, or dalda came in between. Then vegetable fat, emulsified fat. Then came the refined oil. Then came olive oil. Then whatever, next is coming. Now somebody says, everybody's running in this direction. My business plan should, I want to earn more profits. I want to have better restaurant. Let me go back to desi ghee. So this will always be there. It has to have a pro and it has to have a con. This is what I feel.
Thank you, Chef. I think as chefs are telling, where they were giving a lot of inputs, like the food industry is getting redefined. Definitely, for your kind information, whoever is doing the best is sustaining now. The brands are getting built. See, for example, a lassi shop or a tea shop. We were feeling shy to go and stand in a roadside corner and drink a tea in a Nayar Kadai or whatever it is, like those days. Those days have gone now. So they have defined, a chai wala has come in, or a Madras coffee house, or a lassi corner. So these are all getting totally redefined. Experiential dining is making a lot of sense. In fact, we are going to the next level of dining experiences. Of course, you all should know, we chefs, even though, as Chef Mayak was telling, like we are focusing on food, quality, and all those things, we chefs means business. We are, end of the day, we need to make business sense. That is what we are all revolving around. And we all have our passions. We put forward to the customers. At the end of the day, we need to have a successful venture, a successful restaurant. Chef means business, that is there in our minds. Like definitely all the chefs have this basic thing in our mind, and we revolve around that. And still we create a lot of experiences. For example, in our group, anything we create today, even a small pastry shop or a chai service or a coffee service, we are trying to create a small experience. Like in fact, a drink in a bar, we want to make it something different for them. Like some kind of experience should be there. It might be his own regular mojito or whatever it is. Like, but whether it is a nice different kind of glass which is not seen ever, or some kind of services which is coming into picture, this is making a lot of difference, and we are able to get a lot of fetch, a lot of business, footfalls and all those things. We are able to sustain for some period, definitely. So that way, experiential dining is literally there in fashion today. Like.
Yeah, thank you. You were saying that cutting chai and the nostalgia has a value in the experience. Chef Barney wants to add a point there.
So when we discuss in general, sometimes I very strongly believe we need to use a couple of examples. And that examples accentuate the experience, and what Chef Vijay Bhaskar did mention about using various new techniques, molecular gastronomy, etc. So I visited a restaurant in Santiago where the chef said, my cuisine philosophy is a dialogue between the chef and the nature. So he went to the forest, he foraged herbs and mushrooms, etc., and he brought it to his restaurant. And he served us a very passionate mushroom soup. And everybody knows what a mushroom soup is. When that mushroom soup was served, there were a little bit of parmesan grated onto your soup bowl, a small little squeeze of lemon from a muslin tie, and there was a particular maitre d' who came across who pressed a small little perfumery which threw truffle oil dust into the air. So everybody knows truffle accentuates parmesan, parmesan accentuates mushroom, and the entire soup experience is great. So what is very critical for us to understand is anything that we do as experiential should accentuate the fundamentals of dining, which could be the food, it could be the recipe, it could be the experience. If not, anything else that you do will be so-called a gimmick and it will pass away. So this is one of the examples that I would look to you all to think about and take back home to say it is based on substance. It is not based on something which I think will work well. It's not theater. It's based on thought-through culinary philosophy of a restaurant.
That's an interesting thought, because you're saying, can the experience go around the food itself? Good. I think Chef Mayank also wanted to add something quickly here.
Absolutely. With your this thing, and you remember a few years back, experiential dining, whatever we create, but we should not, as a chef, we have taken pledge that we need to have a healthy India. In our quest to have experiential dining, we should not forget about the nutritive value of the food and what is the purpose of the food. So at places I've seen that it looks good, but it does not have the nutritive value. The youngsters, and I'm coming from, I've seen multi offices where there are multi outlets and there are food hubs and all. They are serving food, but they are not looking at the nutritive value. And Chef Bhaskar is one of the pioneers in that field. He has spoken a lot. So I think experiential, we are saying experiential, but basis on good food and nutritive and healthy food is what the experiential, anything you do around it will always be a successful.
Yeah, thank you, Chef Mayank. I think Chef Sitaram wants to quickly add something here.
See, Chef Barney, you were mentioning about the dining, the forest, the soup, and that kind of Noma kind of experiences, which restaurants. What is the shelf life of these restaurants? See, are they able to sustain forever, or is it a very short-lived restaurants, which is this kind of, I'm asking a question to you.
Very good question by you, Chef Sitaram. All I'm trying to say is, at that moment, that experience was great. And that concept was unique. And it's up to the food and beverage team and the chef to evolve and to be constantly experimenting and to look at what is the next interesting concept. So there are many restaurants which just build 4 walls, have white paint on the wall, and the restaurant metamorphosizes, changes in its offering, in its philosophy, in its menu. And it could be the same team and has a total new look every year and a half too. So change is the constant.
Yeah.
Fine, Chef. And I think, as he rightly, Chef Barney mentioned, now the trend is now 3D and 4D experiences. Like, for example, in fact, we are experimenting that with the customers, and people are appreciating that, where we bring in a kind of small music or a sound which is related to the food, and we trying to get food flavors from Amazon and try to infuse it when the plate is coming in front of them. So this kind of experience, 3D and 4D dining experiences are becoming more popular. We are doing a little bit of R&D and experimenting with the customers, which is being appreciated a lot. Like that.
Thank you, Chef. I think Chef Damu has got a quick point to add.
Yeah, thank you. The modern techniques of cooking, maybe they increase the revenue in the restaurants. They are having what they call molecular gastronomy type of cooking. During my show, actually, during the Cook with Kamal show also, a lot of the participants have done this molecular gastronomy. Only one question I was asking to the hotelier, as well as to you all, how far it is good to the health when you use, the quantity is supposed to be very minimal. They're supposed to use whatever the liquid nitrogen or whatever the dry is that you're supposed to use. The quantity should be very minimal. If you're going to use excess, it is going to be very bad to the health. There's a health problem going to be there. But for still, the want of revenue making, we are trying to use in front of the guests, maybe ice creams as well as with the dry ice, we are showing that. And also we are making the soups in that. And also we are making a lot of plated presentations. Only one question is it good for health in the molecular gastronomy, whatever the chemicals we are using it, or because of revenue making, are we doing it?
Yeah, good. I think that's what Chef Mayank basically said, that
Once in a
nutrition.
while it's good. Once in a while it's very good. You can't make it a habit every day.
Okay, what we'll do is we'll do kind of, not exactly a rapid fire, but then I think because we need to capsule quite a bit in the time which is available. So unless until Chef Sitaram wants to add a quick point there.
I think there is another concept which is catching up around the world that with evolving trends. It's like slow food is something which is becoming in thing in the business now. I think you are all aware what is slow food. Now slow food is not slow cooking. It is basically slow food is something where everything is organic, locally sourced within 40-50 kilometers of radius. The menus revolve around that. The local recipes, the great-grandmothers and the great-grandparents were cooking the same recipes are coming back again. That's again becoming a trend as well. At the same time, we did a research on Astro Foods, which is surprising and which none of us are aware. I don't know who has done that research, and I'm really surprised when you talk about elements of health, energy, and the nutritive value of food. Everything was very well defined in that particular this thing. We did a pop-up, and when we created awareness, people were thrilled. It took almost 3 years. Myself and 2 or 3 doctors, SIHRA doctors, we together did the entire thing. They brought in the concept, and I did the food, and it was so interesting. And we need to have that as our eating habits. That is going to become a trend. Now the eating habits are changing, where we were eating a lot of heavy foods. Now kids are now coming into the restaurant. The millennials are asking for what I'm eating, why I'm eating. So they want high protein food, sustainable food, lot of things which they are asking questions nowadays. The menus are getting revolved around that. So we chefs are making menus as per that needs. So this kind of astro food is something where, based on your star sign, you need to balance your food. You are prone to particular disease, particular sign. So based on that, if you are able to balance the food, so you will be able to sustain your health throughout your life. That is why we Indians consider food as medicine. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef Sitaram. So you have actually taken one of those topics which I was going to do the rapid fire, but then anyway, we will go ahead. So one of those earlier trends of experiential dining, what I knew as a young hotel management student, was the revolving restaurant, quite popular. Okay, now we have one hanging restaurant in the city now, in Bangalore. So there are so many things like that. But then another challenge, I'm very sure, as it is it's a challenge, whenever you're planning or whenever you're doing an experiential dining place, the biggest challenge I feel is going to be the human resource, people who are going to help you to run the place. So I'm getting a serious nod from Chef Mayank, so I'll give the mic to him. Chef Mayank, how when you're saying experiential dining, I want to connect the dot with the human resource. Are we there? Are we just pressurizing ourselves by trying to do too much of experiential dining, where we are not backed up by the human resource, which is already in demand, and can we do anything better there?
Absolutely. In fact, before the discussion started, we were having exchange of words. Right resource. Right resource, human resource, in the changing trend, the changing world, where money counts, not the career and the job. It's if today, tomorrow, somebody gets a better option, higher salary, he will jump. Because I remember when we were young, it was security of roti kapda makan. Then suddenly, we were the one who were giving them financial securities to our children. Now the children doesn't want security, they want now and here. And if you look the younger generation who's passing out, I don't know how to call it, whether standards have gone down or expectations have gone up. So I don't think so resources are ready. Everyone, I'm sure the panel sitting here and some of you out there, it is a lot of challenge to train those resources. And in fact, we should have clubbed our session with the human resource session when they were
Okay, that's a challenge, I agree, but are we there? No.
We'll never be there.
We'll never
you
be
know,
there.
it's always be a constant. That moment you're going to catch up, they're going to move up. Or your expectations, and you know, it's going to be a catch-22 situation every time.
So I want to throw this, but the population is growing, isn't it? The population is growing, you are having a shortage of human resource there, but the number of customers are growing, isn't it? The customer is also going to be something similar, isn't it?
Right.
I think I have seen more hands rising there, so let me
Yeah,
give
sure,
a chance
sure,
to
sure,
that.
please.
Maybe, yeah.
I think we should get redefined, Chef. I think we should definitely get redefined with the challenges which we have there in front of us, like the manpower, the resources are going to become a big challenge. But we have to think little technological, where to open a restaurant in the morning to make dosa idli, we cannot expect chefs coming by 3 o'clock henceforth. So we need to redefine ourselves. We need to go into technological aspects where the previous day everything is ready, just come regenerate the food and serve, or recreate the food and serve. So that is how it has to come. Technology has to play a major role to overcome this kind of things, and people should enjoy doing it as well.
See, regarding the resources of manpower, one thing we have to be very alert now. See, I've been visiting various catering colleges. I could see a lot of catering colleges got a lot of vacancies now. They're not joining catering. I don't be surprised down the line about 20 years. The rest is not going to be there. Ready-to-eat food is going to be there. Even the front office staff can handle it. I only request to all the hoteliers or here, if this should not continue, the sustainability of manpower should be there. Only small request I just placing to all. Try to give a reasonable salary, then they stay back with you all. Because of the salary part, because of working hours, when I ask the students, when I take a class, when I ask the students, they say, because of salary part, because of overworking, the people are not interested. Already, there are nearly about, so far in Tamil Nadu, 1,816 vacancies are available in the colleges. The reason the principals are giving it, because the people are not joining, they're not interested to join that. So there's going to be a manpower, very badly the manpower shortage is going to be there down the line another 5 years. All the hoteliers are going to have a face problem.
Yeah, I know the discussion may go off somewhere else because we have to give experiential college experience for the students to join the college. So it's going to be very different, very difficult. Yeah, that's a challenge. So I said, see, we are talking about something very big like experiential dining and all that, but then we have a problem in hand to implement all this. Chef Bhatia, quick word, please.
Quick one. I thought let me
Please.
give a solution to what everybody is talking. We've learned through this hard phase of COVID and when we did not have people and now attrition is so high, we don't get manpower to do smaller things. So what is the solution? And I think the industry, with a lot of these restaurants, which I go around the world and even here, is they found it is it is into two parts. One part he said manually, but it is about outsourcing and automation. A lot of these processes, which are not our signature, maybe the smaller processes like mise en place, cutting onions, making paste, making doughs, that is not our signature, that everybody does it. So a lot of people have started outsourcing it, minimizing their people, because that's where they're not getting these people. What is their signature is what they are doing with their key people. Second thing is the automation, because machines don't have girlfriends and they don't bunk, they don't take offs, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay, no, it's interesting. See, you are also saying that somewhere down the line, this was our discussion even before coming to this hall, that can the food processing industry or the food, that related industry can help. Previously, we were grating coconuts in the kitchen. Now we buy frozen coconut grated. So somebody is also buying a ready-made chutney to put the water and chutney is ready. So there are so many interventions
a
like
process,
that. But
I'm
when you
saying.
talk about
To control on the process, to get you
So
consistency,
these-
and also save on your manpower.
So these can
and
work for
automation.
banquets, these can work for all these regular dining places. But when you talk about experiential dining places, are these processes going to really help or not?
No.
Is again one more discussion.
I would
So
say
somebody
yes.
saying no, somebody saying yes. So
It has to be
that
fresh,
I am
it has
very
to
happy
be-
that finally I'm able to make two people fight.
No, it has to be fresh, it has to be there and then.
Yeah, so
because
when we connect the thing to the experiential dining, there's going to be a difference of opinion there.
Chef, for your
Sitaram,
kind
quick
information,
word, please.
just a second. There's a company which started recently in Chennai where dry form of chutneys are available, chutney powders.
Yeah, I know.
Just put water, the chutney is ready.
Yeah, okay, but you know when
And,
you're, I agree.
See, this is going to be the future. We don't have a choice. I don't make curd in my hotels. Like, even curd we don't make. We buy curd out from outside.
You can also buy
So
batter.
we are
So,
wasting
you
our
know,
time
there's so many
eating
things.
onions or making curd, grating coconuts,
what-
Let's
chopping
order
vegetables. So whatever we are wasting
Zomato.
time.
Okay, what I will summarize is, so probably you can actually, the human resource you can use effectively and get them trained in the experiential places, and then still there will be a lot of human element involved in experiential dining. I think you can't do away with it, but then you can always relocate resources. This is what. So what we will do is, we'll also have to give some time to the audience to throw questions. So quickly, I will ask a couple of more rapid fire. Then we will, so we also say that young persons, we talked about human resource, but quite a bit of the modern day diners are young people, kids. Kids drive their parents. The young people come and dine. So all these experiential places ready for this population, the millennial population. We are ready?
I think we are ready. It's there, and everyone is adopted to the millennium. Yes.
So
and
your food is Instagrammable.
absolutely. Avartana is the biggest example, and that's where it's come in. We started Avartana at ITC Grand Chola.
Okay.
It's meant for the millennium, as well as when it comes to palate, our generations can also go there.
So you're not just rested on the laurels of Bukhara and Dampuk, you are also reinvented yourself
That's
and
what
come up with certain
inno-
things.
that's
So
where
I know this is
innovation
what
and
I wanted to
experiential
bring out,
dining
saying that the hotels, okay. I think there are going to be some questions from the audience.
Can I ask one to the audience? Whenever you dine, whichever outlet, whichever cuisine, I just want to know, when you dine, do you sweat on your forehead in the air condition? Anyone? Yes? How many of you? No, not just because you're feeling hot or spicy. It's about when you dine. And I want this from everyone else to understand. Why do you sweat?
Yeah, you can take this mic.
Anyone thought about it? You can stand up and be loud.
Yeah, okay, mic has reached them, yeah.
Oh, you are talking about fear. No, 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 I'm not talking about fear. You are having food, you had a food in a restaurant, and still you sweat at times. Exactly. You know, that's the greatest experiential dining. You have got involved with the food. That food has made so much of value in your body, in the system, that perspiration which comes on your forehead talks about the warmth because of the food. And anyone who gets that, wherever he or she dines, must say that this is the experiential dining. That's a fulfillment. Rest all is Instagram. You just go, somebody is invited, or you are taking somebody and you had a dining experience.
Mr. Chandrasekhar Rao has a question there. Go ahead, sir.
Sir, chefs are the hearts of the hotels. You are all chefs. But I have one major point. Farm to fork. Nowadays, earlier days it was just 10 to 15% wastage. Nowadays it has gone up to 32% wastage of the food. What best you can create to avoid this food wastage? Not only to the hotel owners, it is a national waste which has to come down very as early as possible. I have one small suggestion on that part also. You must have a component software. With 100 people banquets, these are the quantity required. From salads to dessert. For 1,000 people, you should have a component software at least, so that chef will know what is the actual requirement. I see a lot of wastage in the hotel industry. This really can be come down. And second, one more request, and the Chef Association can give good suggestion to FSSA, which has got abnormal, unpractical rules and regulation in FSSA. Kindly make a representation on behalf of all the hoteliers. Chef Association can give a good representation. What should be the do's and don'ts in the FSSA rules and regulation? Kindly take it up, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rao. I think Chef Barney wants to answer that question, isn't it?
So that was my pet topic when I was working at the Oberoi's, and it was a big challenge, the wastage. First and foremost, how many of hotel chains get together or associations get together and sustainably source what you need from the farms below? How many hotels here in Bangalore actually buy pomelos from Devanahalli? Do you know that the pomelo in Devanahalli in Bangalore has a GI tag? How many of you buy it from there? And the farmer actually doesn't sell it, he sells it on the road and it gets wasted, to your point. How many of you are backward integrating sustainably where you grade the produce to say the best capsicum goes to my salad and the next so-called the ugly vegetables can get pureed and go into something else, into a curry or a gravy? There has to be some thought process which has to go to. That is from the sourcing part of it and then your recipe and your standardization part of it. Then comes the guest interface part of it. When a guest comes and sits and a chef is called, the guest wants 24 items on the buffet. And there is a chef and dish which needs to be filled up at least half full. If it's 1/3 full, it gets burnt. And then they turn around and say the food is already empty, loaded up. So the chef is forced to cook for 200 people. He's forced to cook for 450 people. And then when it goes into the bin, it gets wasted. How many of the hotel chains have the courage to say that we will not give you 26, 30 items, but we will give you the best of quality of 16 items on the buffet, and we will give you the best of experience. And accordingly, we will charge you less. So there are a lot of multiple aspects which add on to this in terms of the waste.
So this can be another topic for discussion for a complete session, I suppose. We take Mr. Rao's point there. Probably some technologies has to work together with the chefs. and then come up with a solution. That's a vast topic by itself. I think Chef Rana there has a question there.
Bhaskar, there is a solution, and we are doing it at ITC hotels. And that's how we have become LEED Platinum. We are the largest company chain of hotels which are LEED Platinum. And LEED Platinum is energy efficient in all aspects. And we monitor our waste every day. And you're talking about software which will calculate? Yes, we do. But then there have been incidents when we run short of food because people have increased. Your host doesn't know how many is going to come. So, as a reputation, because we all believe our goodwill is more important than the host who's come here, because those people who are going to dine in my banquet hall are not going to blame the host. They're going to blame the hotel. We went there and there was no food. Right, Vani? So, it's everyone's responsibility. If host is saying that I'm inviting 500 people, then he should make sure he doesn't get 800 people. I'll ensure zero waste. I have processes in place. I have activities in place. But unfortunately, luckily we have, as you are saying, how we have reduced waste. Sometime, 5 years back, we were doing a lot of waste. Now we have controlled it. We have come down to less than 50% when it comes to wastage. But obviously, if a person walks onto a buffet at 3:40 and your buffet closes at 3:45, do you think that he should not get the food which the person who came at 12:30, first person got the food? So let's be practical also. Certainly, you can create systems, you can eliminate things, as he's saying, coconut. But unfortunately, in that, the process industry is creating a waste. If we are not doing it, we are passing on to them. So we need to look at the total farm to fork sustainable process. And that's how it can be done.
So the industry, the food technologies, the food industry can also help in many ways where we can avoid. The greatest story is the way I isolate protein. I do not know how it's sold in the gyms and all that. Earlier, the cheese or the paneer making industry used to throw that protein away. Somebody said that something can come out of it. They isolated the protein from that, and that sells in, I don't know, per kilo, 1,500 rupees or something. So there are a lot of interesting stories. People have been having coffee. You only use the seed. You don't use the fruit. So we are trying to find the ways of finding the fruit. That food processing industry is finding a lot of ways to be sustainable and avoid wastage. I think the hotel industry will take some more time to reach there, as there are a lot of challenges with Chef. Yes, Chef Sitaram.
Couple of things. One youngster came and approached me. He has finished his college and working in Europe, Eastern Europe for some time. And he came and approached me just a month back, I think. He came and told, Chef, there in that part of the world, they do sell food after the service hours. Like they discount it, they announce it online, and it will be kept ready in a particular place in a hotel. The guest comes and picks up and goes, like 50% discount, 30% discount, whatever it is. Like that's the in thing which is happening around to avoid this kind of wastage and all those things. That is that is catching up in the thing. Which was very interesting. Youngster came and with some creative idea which he has seen somewhere when he was studying. He used to go and buy that food, it seems. In 5-star hotels, when the buffet is closed, so they try to announce it on online, saying that this many portions, this food is available for this price. See, if you go into the hotel, it is X price, but whereas 30%, 50% discount, the kids go there, buy and they utilize it. These concepts, and then I see in a community, now I don't know whether it is Jain or something, where they don't have in their menu more than 21 dishes, all put together, including chutneys, sauces, negi, whatever it is. So they say they don't want to waste food. In fact, I have come across this community recently. They want only 18 items or 12 items or something they were telling me. Not more than that, they will have anything for their weddings or celebrations. So these kind of things are there. Like a lot of evolving techniques are coming. Now the kids are more enterprising and they're coming out with some creative ideas. I think with this, zero wastage is our motto. All the chefs, our entire chefs here sitting on the stage, we won't have zero wastage. So that my company nor myself, or we are not losing any money, which is not going to the dustbin. That is our motto. We are working, we are revolving around that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef Sitaram. I think this gentleman here has got a question. Can we have the mic there? Last question.
Sir, I have a question.
Okay, we can also come off the line and answer questions. Chefs will be able to answer questions.
Good morning.
Quickly.
My question is to all the chefs here. So, Barbecue Nation was first founded in 2008 After 5 years, ABQ came into picture. But still today, although ABQ serves more variety of food than barbecue, Barbecue Nation has a higher footfall. Equally, it has higher food wastage at the end. Can I know what are your perspectives on this? Thank you.
See, I think where you got that the barbecue nations have more wastage. Somebody has defined some data is there. How is it is it relevant that they are wasting so much of food? Any data is available in anywhere like?
Like the end food wastage, I meant to say.
Yeah, but see, recently I went to Barbecue Nation, so what chef is asking has got relevance because somebody from Barbecue Nation is not there to defend that. So I think probably we'll skip, but yes, your point is noted. Probably yes. This gentleman here wanted, that's a final question.
Good morning. You admitted that there's a shortage of human resources, which we are all feeling the pinch. You have a solution for it, how to attract people to get into this profession, which is really a problem. Particularly, you say you want to be a cook. People don't want to be a cook. If you want to be a chef, maybe using the name may be a way to do it. But all of us are having a problem. You have any solution for fixing the problem?
One solution quickly I'll give is Chef Damu is here. He's able to attract a lot of people into the colleges because the chef's profession has become little more glamorous.
We have an issue here, sir. Like, see, we are with the labor-intensive business. Food industry or hotel industry, we are having labor-intensive, where we find that people fight for 50 crores business every turnover per year. So when it comes to sharing of our pie, it is becoming smaller, whereas in a finance company, 50 people work for 500 crores. So the people get more attracted there. It's a white-collar job. They sit and they have their weekends and they enjoy. So that kind of problems are there. The industry is facing now. At the same time, the international demand has gone up. And in fact, peak pandemic, you will be surprised. My core chefs who are working with me for 15 years have left. And they have gone for good, so I don't want to stop them as well. So these kind of problems will be evolving, and we have to come across with the support of technological support. At the same time, how much of revenue we are going to generate and try to balance it towards our labor cost.
Thank you, Chef.
Something which we need to work on.
Thank you. The organizers are prompting me saying that the time is running out. So thank you all so much for asking questions. People will still have questions. We are happy to answer those questions offline, off stage. We'll be more than happy to. But then Chef Barney, you remember very well that we did programs in schools to attract people into the colleges. I think that's a way to go forward to get the manpower into the industry. So let's look at it collectively later. Thank you so much. Thank you.
One small question about customer behavior is the challenging fact today. Chef, can you put me small light on that? Customer behavior is you want to make any new restaurants. I am a F&B consultant, hotel consultant. It is a big challenge. Client, they approach what food to do. Customer behavior is changing like a bacteria, like a technology. They want something different. So can you please suggest us something?
I think you're talking about customer demand, the customer demand, not the customer behaving badly, not that, correct? It's a customer demand. We chefs have to evolve. We industry has to evolve. We don't have a choice. See, tea shop has got redefined. We star hotels or fine dining restaurants have to evolve. We need to have the strategy. We need to do some kind of R&D. We most of the time cut copy paste, which doesn't work So we need to do research. We need to do some kind of R&D experiments. So to overcome this kind of thing, so that your staff is having some opportunity for them to put their thoughts and try to come out with something creative. So encourage people to come out with a lot of ideas. So this kind of redefining things have to happen. We don't have a choice.
Thank you so much.
I just want to add quickly
ladies and gentlemen, we'll take further questions. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Just quickly, about 30 seconds, what Chef said rightly. When we were young, when we were children, if we were told that there is one small line, to make this smaller without rubbing or folding, how would you do it? We would draw a bigger line next to it. So this race will always be on. We'll do the best thing, there'll be somebody else copying it and making it better. So we have to make better than it, and it will go on, and it will never end. So that's where F&B industry is always challenging and good. That's it. I just wanted to.
Hello. I'm sorry, just last one question. I'm just waiting for the last, just small question.
Sir, we'll take the questions offline. May I take the liberty of telling them that you are going to be available during the break sessions? All right. So ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed set of panelists and moderators will be available offline for a while. You can discuss your questions with them then. Without further ado, I'd like to invite Mr. Suresh Pillai, Vice President of SIHRA, to please come up on stage and present a token of appreciation or memento to our moderator and the esteemed guest panelists that we have on the stage right now. Thank you once again for that extremely engaging session. I'm sure all our guests have a lot of further questions, and our esteemed panelists and moderator will make themselves available for a bit to answer your questions. So do please make most of the time that's available offline as well. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to be conducting the lucky draw, and to do the honors for that, may I please invite on stage Srimati Vijayeshwari, Managing Director, Ramoji Film City, to please join Mr. Suresh Pillai on stage for the lucky draw. And in case you haven't, please do drop in your visiting cards in the fishbowl right now. Also, ladies and gentlemen, an interesting fact, the probability of you winning something for yourself is higher today because the number of people in the room is fairly small. So don't miss out on this opportunity. Stay in the room while we conduct the lucky draw, and do drop in your cards in the fishbowl. We are going to be calling out winners for 4 prizes.